Hey everybody, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Aries full moon that we're having. We're having it now, but it was exact last night. I'm a Libra, sun and rising, so for me, it's in my seventh house of relationships. So I'm just thinking about how I relate to my experience right now and how I'm relating to other people that are close to me. Um, pretty soon, the sun is going to be going into Scorpio, which rules intimate relationships, and that's where Mercury is now, and it'll be going retrograde there as well. So we're already thinking about it, and our consciousness is already kind of like connected or tapped into, our intimate relationships, our power struggles, maybe even some things that you know we may want or desire, right? Because Mars ruled this full moon, okay? And so does Pluto to a degree, because Pluto is also a co-ruler of Aries, right? Because Pluto is life and death, and Aries is talking about destruction, and it's also talking about creation as well. You know what I mean? So we're thinking about destruction and creation. What are we ending and what are we beginning? What is our primary focus? How are we connected to the Godhead, or how are we connected to spirit that inspires us to believe, to be conscious of ourselves and conscious of what we are doing, because Mars is a doer and Aries is also a doer. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which is the 10th house. If you add the 1 and the 0, there's a 1 there as well. It's also talking about learning and how you become something new once you've learned, right? And when you've experienced karma, it's kind of like you know, growth. One of Aries' best experiences is to have growth, or to have some some level of growth, right? Because then that is kind of like giving you the authority, or giving you the power that you know that you deserve. Um, Mars also rules the eighth house, which is talking about what we desire and what we will based on what we desire. And it's talking about you know our impulses, um, our impulse to control, right? Our impulse to probably control other people and controlling ourselves. Self control is very important when you're thinking of Aries, and when you're thinking of Scorpio, and when you're thinking of Capricorn, right? Because Aries is, usually takes risks, and it jumps at things, and it just kind of puts itself out there, and, right? And then we're thinking of Scorpio, which it doesn't really like to take huge risks, but it is kind of risky. It likes to control things. It likes to understand and know what is going to be, right? Scorpio rules transformation, life, death, also children to some degree. It squares Leo, which Leo is also dealing with children, but Pluto is exalted in Leo. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when you have that squaring energy, the planet that is, the planet that rules the house that it is squaring naturally, usually that planet might be exalted or in its fall, depending on like what the dynamics are um, between the signs. And then when you look at the houses, it's a whole other different complexity, right? That just basically adds levels to what we already have established, or what we already know, right? Aries is talking about what we do know, right? And it also is talking about how we apply ourselves, right, to our experience, right? How are we injecting ourselves into our experience? Look at what your rising sign is. That Mars rules the first house, which is the rising, you know, um, and that talks about how we project ourselves and how other people see that projection of us, right? It's almost kind of like uncontrolled, right? Because Aries isn't controlled. Pluto is a co-ruler, but Mars doesn't really want to be controlled, and Pluto definitely doesn't want to be controlled. It wants to be the one doing the controlling, right? So, how are you your own authority? What is the execution? You know what I mean? And how are you executing yourself, or executing anything that you have anything to do with your own authority? How do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? What have you become? What do you want to be? It also talks about what you have been, and it's also talking about doing new things, because Aries is talking about, you know, being inspired, growth. Um, it's also talking about, new beginnings as well, potent energy, being aware of what it is that you hold, what you also give and what you provide to an experience, right? How you affect others. Sometimes Aries isn't consciously aware of how it affects others. It just affects others, right? And that's for them to feel, and for Aries to sort of like understand, or maybe know, or bringing the attention to, right? Because Aries does bring attention to itself, and it brings attention to, it brings other people's attention to things, right? Aries is very focused, almost sometimes focused to a fault, because it won't let down. Rams will fight and bang skulls for hours, like 6 to 8 hours. Sometimes it's a long thing. It's a long fight. And we're talking about disputes. We're also talking about tensions. We're talking about optimism, right? Inspiration. So whatever you're feeling intensely, right? Because Mars and Aries are very intense energies. Aries is also talking about foundations, right? Because the fourth house is Cancer, but it's also the first water sign. So it's talking about impulse as well, just like the first house of fire being Aries, right? That's talking about impulse as well. So, and the moon rules Cancer. So Cancer definitely also plays a part in this. This is the North Node. So what we are becoming more aware of within ourselves is kind of like the North Node also speaking to us through this Aries full moon, right? And then the sun was in Libra, and it's this cardinal cross energy, right? The cardinal axes, right? Which initiate things, lead us into new beginnings, right? That inspire us and refresh our, take on things, okay? So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at new beginnings, new ways of understanding, um, how we identify with ourselves, who we were, who we are now, and who we're going to be, where we see ourselves going, you know? It kind of is looking onward, right? Our eyes on the horizon. This is definitely like an eye on the horizon type thing. When we look for the moon, we look out on the horizon. Which horizon it is on? Where are we going? What is our direction? Where is our focus? Where do we see ourselves going and being? So what do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself going? Don't let anybody tell you what they see you doing. If it's, they can tell you, but you don't have to live your life based on what other people tell you that they see you doing, because it really is your experience. You are your authority. You're the captain of your ship. See what I mean? And Libra season does talk about how our receptivity can lead us into, accepting things from others that we don't necessarily want, right? Because it might be what they want, or might be what they might be focused on, and we are not, you know. And sometimes they can shake you and they can rattle you when someone kind of like makes you aware of something that maybe you didn't want to be aware of. And it's not in being in denial, it's just kind of like, I'm not focused on that. So your focus is your focus. Everybody doesn't have the same focus, and everybody doesn't have the same intention, and everyone doesn't have the same way. They don't initiate things in the same way. Mars is talking about drive and desire and hunger, right? you know what are you hungry for? What is your desire? What do you want to see yourself do? What are you doing? Where is your motivation? How are you moved, right? So Aries is talking about motivation as well. And so is Cancer, right? And so is Libra, and so is Capricorn. They're all talking about movement. They're all talking about motivation, right? We're juggling things, we're weighing things out, we're moving, we're trying to balance, we're trying to harmonize situations here. So focus is being brought to the harmonization of things within a process, right? Because Libra brings harmony within a process. It's not harmony that comes after. Yes, that too, but it really is talking about harmonizing within the process, that of teetering. you know As children, we play with a teeter-totter, and it's kind of like if you were on a seesaw or teeter-totter on your own, it's difficult doing it on your own. You need someone else to sort of like shift and change and reflect and bounce that energy back. It's a give and a take. It's a game that we're playing, and life is pretty much a game. You just have to know how to play it, right? You have to be aware. You have to know yourself, right? And you have to also know that there are parts of yourself that you haven't become acquainted with yet, okay? And that's what other people show you, right? Because they reveal a part of you to yourself that you may have been ignoring. Because Aries does talk about things that you might be ignoring. Because you're so focused on you. Or you're so focused on like what is going on in your head or what's in front of you. Because Aries is talking about what's in front of you. You can't see far, far further in the distance or further, past what's in front of you to see the horizon, right? So we're focused on what's in front of us right now, but we focus on that so we can get to the next thing, and we can get to the next thing, which is getting us closer to where we want to be and where we want to go. And that's where the 10th house comes in. Our identification, who we acknowledge ourselves to be, what we believe, what we become, the work that we do based on that, right? Knowing who we are, what we're inspired to do, right? Spend time on, right? Assert ourselves, because the 10th house is also talking about effort. Mars is talking about effort, right? So where's your effort? Where's your motivation? What are you consciously aware of? What are you approving? What do you not approve? What do you know that you need to do? What are your responsibilities? What are your obligations, right? Because those are also things that are important, you know. But yeah, that's gonna be my little short take on the full moon in Aries. It is talking about completion, so we're going to start seeing ourselves as individuals in a new way, and it's going to be a respectable thing, respectful way. And then when we have the full moon in Taurus, that's an exaltation. I love that, right? Six of Pentacles energy. Anyway, that's my street talk for the Aries full moon, which Mars will also rule the next new moon that we have, which is going to be in Scorpio. Okay? I will see you all next time. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot. I'm also Providence Tarot here on YouTube. Email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com if you'd like to get a personal reading from me. Thanks to all of those who have subscribed to readings and who plan on subscribing to getting a reading from me. Regularly, not regularly, but a natural rhythm, once a month, maybe twice a month. Those are basically, the subscriptions. But email me if you'd like to know the details on those. I read at Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery on Sundays from 12 to 5. That address is 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues near Union Square, NYU. It's kind of getting colder out here, a little chilly, fall weather, so I'm kind of like shaking or, trying to stay warm. All right, Capricorn is going up, and I would like to also note that the Capricorn video has a little bit of static in like the first minute, and then maybe some in like the 6 or 7 minute mark. But those are the only moments. I listened to it, I went back, I scrolled through each minute or each 2-minute increments, and I think that it is okay. I'm approving it to get posted, so watch that video. I know some of you guys might say something to me about the static, but trust me, I know. I posted the video. Okay? I will talk to you guys soon. See you later. Follow me on IG, Providence Tarot, NYC Kendrick NYC, or The Tongue Pop. Okay? Bye, everybody.